Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à la classe. Welcome everybody to Spring 2 and today's lesson, which is Boire et Manger. So eating and drinking. Alors, pour commencer, écrivez le titre, Boire et Manger, et soulignez. So to start with, write down the title and underline that, please. Now, to start off with, c'est très intéressant. Do you know any of these French dishes? Don't spend longer than a minute. You don't need to write anything down for this. You can just look at them and see, is there any of them that you know? Alors, cette semaine, qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? So we're going to be doing all about food this week, and we're going to be looking at how we say some in French, and we're going to be revising the present tense and also learning a new tense called the near future. Alors, maintenant, on va écouter et qu'est-ce que c'est? So I want you to match up, please, the vocabulary. You've got a vocab list here. I'm going to go through the pronunciation, and while I'm doing that, I want you to match them. So, for example, is it 1A? Is it 1B? Is it 2C? So you don't need to write them down for now. This is a very quick task, okay? So this should only take you literally 2 minutes, okay? Alors, la pizza, le pain, la salade, les saucisses, les fruits, les gâteaux, le pâté, le jambon, les œufs, le coca, le fromage, l'eau, le chocolat, les chips. Okay, so match those up very quickly. 1 minute, please, 2 minutes maximum. You can pause this while you're doing, you can pause the video while you're doing this task. Alors, on va continuer. So what I want you to do now is write down all of the vocabulary. You can check your answers. Did you have them right? While you're writing that down, I'm going to start the pronunciation. So if you want to listen to the pronunciation again and say it along with me, you can replay this, okay? But just make sure that you've all of the vocab list for today written in your book along with the gender, okay? So the masculine, the feminine, plural, and if it starts with the verb. Alors, je vais commencer. La pizza, la salade, l'eau, le pain, le pâté, le jambon, le coca, le fromage, le chocolat, les saucisses, les fruits, les gâteaux, les œufs, les chips. Bon, alors c'est très bien. Now you had a little challenge there. I kind of spoiled it a little bit, and it was to spot the masculine, feminine, and the plural nouns. So I hope that you got that. The feminine ones, we just have two feminines, la pizza et les salades. And our masculine ones, most of our words are words for in French for food are the masculine, here in bleu, le pain, le pâté, etc. And then our plural nouns are the ones with les. And please notice that they all agree in the plural that they have an S on them, and that the ones that end in EAU for the singular, they add an X on for the plural. Alors, c'est très bien. Okay, check you've everything written down before we continue. Alors, maintenant, écrivez le titre grammar. So now please write down the title in your book, grammar, and it is called partitive article, or in other words, some. Okay, so please write that title in your book. And please write down the explanation. So we use this in front of nouns that express unquantifiable quantities, and in front of food items to say some. Okay, so in English, if we want to say some bread, some pizza, some water, etc., this is what we use. Now, let's look at the examples. So when we have, for masculine, du plus le, so for example, we said any noun, it becomes du. So du plus le together becomes du. Feminine, du plus a noun with la becomes du la. And du plus L apostrophe for a vowel still stays the same, du l'apostrophe, and du plus les becomes des. Okay, so we're looking at saying some in French here. Okay, so please write that down in your books. Make sure that you do a grammar cloud with your highlighter as well for this. And your little challenge here is to translate, I ate some meat with chips. Alors, bon, you can pause this while you're doing this task. Alors, on va continuer. Maintenant, on va pratiquer. So let's practice now. So I want you to see, can you write this vocabulary with the partitive article? So in other words, can you transform it into saying some? Okay, so we have le pain, la salade, l'eau, les fruits. So instead of saying the bread, the salad, the water, the fruit, you're now going to say some bread, some salad, some water, and some fruit. Alors, très bien. Pause this while you do this task. Do not take longer. You shouldn't be taking longer than 2 minutes with this task. Alors? Alors, on va corriger. Alors, le pain. So, for some bread, we say du pain. La salade. For some salad, we say de la salade. L'eau. For some water, we say du l'eau. And for some fruit, les fruits, we say des fruits. Alors, c'est très bien. Can you please make sure that you have those written down correctly in your books? I would, if I was doing this, I would also be highlighting the du, de la, du, l'apostrophe, and des. Okay, so that you can remember that. That's really good for your visual learning as well. Alors, and the challenge is, comment est-ce qu'on dit? I eat some bread, I drink some water. Okay, so can you translate those two sentences, please? Again, don't take longer than 2 minutes for that little task before you move on. Alors, maintenant, on va pratiquer. So we have a little bit of practice now with our, with some, du, de la, and du, l'apostrophe, and des. Alors, so I want you please to fill in the gaps with the correct form. Write the sentence out in full, please. So, je mange, what would you say there? Pain et fruits. So please write it out completely and translate the sentences, okay? It says challenge, but I want you to translate the sentences as you're going along. So you've got 5 sentences here to do. You should not be taking longer than, I would say, about 3 to 4 minutes doing this task, okay? So write, please, and fill in the gaps. Pause while you're doing this task. Merci. Alors, on va continuer et on va corriger. So let's run through and correct them. So, je mange du pain et des fruits. So I eat some bread and some fruit. Okay, give yourself 2 points if you got that right. Je bois du l'eau tous les jours. So I drink water every day. Now take note that this should this should not be here. Okay, this replaces this l'apostrophe. Okay. Next one. Hier, j'ai mangé des frites avec la viande. C'est très bien. 2 points ici. Give yourself 2 points here. So yesterday, hier is yesterday. J'ai mangé, I ate. Remember our passé composé, our past tense. I ate some chips with some meat. Alors, c'est très bien. Did you remember that la viande was feminine? Alors, je dois boire du coca quand il fait chaud. I love drinking some chocolate, some Coca-Cola when it is warm. Okay, c'est très bien. Did you have du coca? It's le coca masculin. Alors, pour le petit déjeuner, je mange des œufs avec du pain et je prends du café sans sucre. So for breakfast, I eat some eggs with some bread and I take some coffee without sugar. That was a long sentence, wasn't it? Combien de points est-ce que tu as? Write down 3 points ici. Okay, so write down what you got out of in total 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. Combien de points? How many points did you get out of 9 for this? Okay. Anything that you didn't have, please correct it in your book. Ah oui, 9 points. Alors, on va continuer. Now, this is in another grammar cloud, please, with your highlighter. So let's look at a new verb for us today. So the verb manger. Alors, écrivez dans ton cahier, s'il vous plaît. Let's run through them. So, je mange, tu manges, il, elle, on mange, nous mangeons, vous mangez, and il mange. Okay? So, écrivez, s'il vous plaît. Write the verb in French and in English. Okay? Now, have a little look here. Remember our present tense of our verbs, our ER verbs. We have our subject, so who's doing the action, the je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, and il, elle. So that corresponds with our I, you, he, she, we, you, they. Then we have our stem of our verb. So mange is our stem. And then we have our verb ending for our verbs in our ER verbs in the present tense. So that's ES, ons, es, on. Now, have a little look here at the first person plural. So we eat. In the verb manger, it keeps its E there. Okay, so it's it acts a little bit different. It behaves differently to what we're used to. So please, I want you with your highlighter or even underline that E is in there. Do not forget that. Alors, c'est très bien. Write that verb down in your book, please, and you can pause this while you're doing that. Use your highlighter and create a little grammar cloud for this. Merci. Alors, maintenant, on va écouter. So I want you to write the title listening task in your book, please. Alors, écoute, qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le chariot de Marie? Okay, so you've got a list of food here. What is in Marie's shopping trolley is the question. So I want you to put the food in the correct order, okay, that you hear it. Now, what is our strategy for this task? What is our strategy? Always be thinking of what your strategy is. So remember, your strategy is read the questions first, okay? So if you're doing this, I would be looking at the answers so that I know what the vocabulary is before I listen to it, okay? And we've done the food items so you know that it's going to be your vocabulary, okay? So you need to write these in the correct order. You don't need to rewrite all the food. All you need to write down is, for example, 6, 3, 10, 12, 9, 14, etc. OK? C'est très bien? Bon, on va commencer. Écoutez. Activité 2.
Allô? Allô? Marie? C'est Paul. Alors, tu as tout pour la fête samedi soir? Oui, oui, je pense. J'ai du jambon, des saucisses, du pain. Tu as des chips? Oui, j'ai des chips et des pizzas. Ah, et du pâté. Du pâté? Bien. Bon, à plus. À plus. Salut Paul. Et des fruits, tu en as? Ben non, c'est un peu cher. Tu as des gâteaux? Bien sûr, j'ai des gâteaux. D'accord. Alors, comme boisson, qu'est-ce que tu as? J'ai du coca et de l'eau. Super. À plus. Salut. À samedi.
Bon, c'est très bien. So if you need to listen to that again, you can rewind there. Now, there was a little challenge. What is too expensive? There was some item that Marie said that was too expensive for her to buy. Did you get that one as well? Okay, so you can pause if you need to go back and listen. Otherwise, we're going to continue on with the now please mark down oui. Alors. Okay, so I want you to mark down what you got out of 14. Combien de points est-ce que tu as? Alors, so here is the correction. Can you please look at your answers and see how many you got right out of 14? Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it is out of 10. Alors, now, what was the item that you said was too expensive? It was des fruits. Okay, des fruits. Bon, on va continuer. Alors, so what I want you to do for your little plenary task is I want you to choose the correct partitive article, okay? So the correct form of some for the following, okay? Alors, the numbers here should say 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? To pause, please, while you're doing this. It shouldn't take you longer than 2 minutes to do. Oh, pardon. They were on an. Sorry, guys. There is actually 6 of them. Okay. Sorry, they were on a little animation thing. So, pardon. So yes, add in, please, pain, viande, chocolat, fruits, et pizza. And pause while you're doing that task. Alors, on va continuer. So this is just a final little revision. So you don't need to write anything down now for the rest of the lesson. You just need to focus on a quick revision of the present tense. So I've got a little video there for you that you can have a look at, BBC Bite Size. But let's have a little revision. When do we use the present tense? Okay, so we use it for things that are happening right now. So for example, je mange un pomme, I eat an apple. I eat an apple, or I'm eating an apple. For things that we do all the time, habits that we have. Je joue au tennis tous les samedis. So I play tennis every Saturday. And for facts, Paris est la capitale de la France. So Paris is the capital of France. Okay? So remember the 3 reasons that we use the present tense. Now let's have a little look at the how we form the present tense. So 3 verb families in French. Can you remember what they are? Alors, we've got our ER verb family. So verbs ending in ER, for example, manger, to eat, aimer, to like, regarder, to watch. And most of our verbs in French end in ER, which is really handy. Then we have our verb family that end in IR, finir, choisir, réfléchir, to think, to choose, and to finish. And then we have our RE verb family, attendre, to wait, and vendre, to sell. Okay, now it says a little matchup task. You can do this orally if you like. So how do we say I? Qu'est-ce que c'est I? Or you can write it in your book as well. So how do you match up the pronouns there? So I, you, he, she, we, you, they. What are they? Alors, I'm going to give you a moment just to think about that before we do the answers. Alors, let's do them now. So we have je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, and il, ILS for masculine and feminine, and elle, ILLES for feminine plural. Alors, bon, on va continuer. So we've already written down our verb manger, our ER verb. So let's have a little look, reminder of the steps for forming the present tense. So you get your infinitive, for example, aimer, to like. We remove the verb family ending, so the ER, IR, or RE, and that leaves us with the stem, okay? So for example, that leaves us then with M, and then we add the correct endings for the present tense. So let's look at what that looks like. So we add E for the first person, ES, E, ONS, EZ, and ENT. Okay? So j'aime, tu aimes, il, elle aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, and il, elle aime. Bon? And remember, the translation is I like, you like, he, she likes, we like, you like, and they like. Alors. Now, your regular verbs in the present tense, please. This is essential that you remember this, okay? So either take a photo, if you can print this out, please do. Glue it into your page, and because you will always use this. So these are the regular present tense for ER verbs, for IR verbs, and RE verbs. Okay, I'm going to run through them again. J'aime, tu aimes, il, elle aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment. Je finis, tu finis, il, elle, on finit, nous finissons, vous finissez, and il, elle finissons. J'attends, tu attends, il, elle, on attend, nous attendons, vous attendez, ils attendent. Bon? Alors, c'est tu. Well done, everybody. Great lesson today. We've looked at our food. We've looked at the partitive article, which is some. We've revised the present tense. And next time, we're going to be looking at the near future tense. Please upload your work for your teacher. And alors, très bien. C'est super. Well done. You did very well today. Au revoir, merci. À bientôt.